The very foundation of your predicament rests upon the precarious balancing act you now face, the inherent conflict of interest that arises from your simultaneous roles as a victim of the HOA's actions and their newly appointed auditor. This isn't merely a theoretical concern, it's a tangible reality that permeates every aspect of your interaction with the association. The HOA, in their alleged act of trespassing and destroying your hedges, has not only violated your personal property but has also potentially compromised the integrity of your impending audit. The question becomes, can you, in good conscience, conduct an impartial and objective assessment of their financial and governance practices when they have demonstrated a clear disregard for your own rights? The answer, while complex, hinges on your ability to compartmentalize these two distinct roles, a feat that is far easier said than done. The specter of their actions will inevitably loom large, casting a shadow over every document you review, every interview you conduct, and every decision you make. The potential for bias, whether conscious or unconscious, is undeniable. The HOA, aware of your personal grievance, may attempt to manipulate or obstruct your audit, hoping to minimize scrutiny or deflect attention from their own potential shortcomings. They might perceive your presence as a threat, viewing your audit as a veiled attempt at retribution. Conversely, you yourself may find it difficult to remain detached, your judgment clouded by the emotional residue of their actions. The very act of examining their financial records, knowing that they have violated your trust and property, could trigger feelings of resentment or suspicion. Every discrepancy, every questionable expense, could be interpreted through the lens of their past transgression. This inherent tension creates a delicate ethical tightrope, one that demands unwavering integrity and a commitment to transparency. Your ability to navigate this conflict will not only determine the outcome of the audit, but also shape your reputation within the community. Closely intertwined with the conflict of interest is the potential for an abuse of power by the HOA. Their alleged trespass and destruction of your hedges, if proven, represents a blatant disregard for your property rights. It suggests a belief that they operate outside the bounds of established rules and regulations, that they possess the authority to act unilaterally, without regard for due process or individual rights. This is a hallmark of abusive power, where those in positions of authority exploit their power to intimidate, control, or punish those who challenge their decisions. The very act of entering your property without your consent, let alone destroying your landscaping, represents a significant overreach. It sends a chilling message to other homeowners, suggesting that their own property rights are equally vulnerable. The HOA, in their role as a governing body, is entrusted with the responsibility of upholding community standards and protecting the interests of all residents. However, their actions in your case suggest a willingness to disregard these responsibilities, prioritizing their own perceived interests over the rights of individual homeowners. This abuse of power extends beyond the immediate damage to your property. It undermines the very foundation of the HOA's authority, eroding trust and creating a climate of fear and resentment. Residents may begin to question the legitimacy of the HOA's decisions, wondering whether they are based on fairness and impartiality or on personal vendettas and arbitrary whims. The perception of an abusive HOA can have a cascading effect, discouraging participation in community activities and fostering a sense of alienation among residents. The long-term consequences can be devastating, transforming a once harmonious community into a battleground of distrust and conflict. The challenge for you, as the auditor, is to expose this potential abuse of power, to shed light on the HOA's actions and hold them accountable for their transgressions. This requires courage and determination, a willingness to stand up to those who have abused their authority and to ensure that the principles of fairness and justice are upheld. The foundation of any HOA's authority lies in its bylaws and rules, the legal documents that govern its operations and define the rights and responsibilities of its members. Your investigation into whether the HOA's actions violated these documents is not merely a matter of personal interest, it's a fundamental aspect of your audit. The bylaws and rules are the bedrock of the community's governance, establishing the procedures for decision-making, property maintenance, and dispute resolution. If the HOA acted outside the scope of these documents, they have not only violated your rights but also undermined the legitimacy of their own authority. As an auditor, Your role is to examine these documents with a critical eye, scrutinizing their language and interpreting their intent. You must determine whether the HOA's actions were consistent with the provisions of the bylaws and rules, or whether they represent a departure from established procedures. This requires a thorough understanding of the legal framework that governs the HOA, as well as a keen awareness of the specific circumstances surrounding the hedge incident. The bylaws and rules may contain provisions regarding landscaping, property maintenance, or dispute resolution that are directly relevant to your situation. They may also address the issue of notice, requiring the HOA to provide homeowners with adequate warning before taking action on their property. Your examination of these documents will not only help you determine whether the HOA acted lawfully, but also identify any potential ambiguities or loopholes that could be exploited in the future. By highlighting these deficiencies, you can help the HOA strengthen its governance and ensure that its actions are consistent with the principles of fairness and transparency. In the face of such a direct confrontation, documentation is key. Every interaction, every observation, every piece of evidence must be meticulously recorded. This isn't merely a matter of personal record-keeping. It's an essential component of your audit and a crucial safeguard against potential misrepresentation or manipulation. Photos and videos of the damaged hedges, taken immediately after the incident, provide irrefutable evidence of the HOA's actions. Detailed notes of your conversations with HOA members, including dates, times, and the specific content of the discussions, create a clear and accurate record of your interactions. Copies of all relevant documents, including the bylaws, rules, and any correspondence with the HOA, ensure that you have a complete and comprehensive understanding of the situation. This meticulous documentation serves multiple purposes. It provides a solid foundation for your audit, allowing you to present your findings with confidence and clarity. It also protects you from potential accusations of bias or impropriety, demonstrating that your actions are based on evidence and objective analysis. Furthermore, it serves as a powerful deterrent against any attempts by the HOA to deny or downplay their actions. The weight of documented evidence can be overwhelming, making it difficult for them to fabricate alternative narratives or deflect responsibility. The process of documentation itself can be a powerful tool, forcing you to confront the reality of the situation and to organize your thoughts and observations in a systematic manner. It allows you to identify patterns, inconsistencies, and potential areas of concern that might otherwise go unnoticed. In essence, documentation transforms your personal experience into a compelling narrative, one that can be used to hold the HOA accountable and to ensure that justice is served. Finally, the question of legal recourse cannot be ignored. The HOA's alleged trespass and destruction of your hedges may constitute a violation of your property rights, entitling you to seek legal redress. Consulting with an attorney is essential to understand your options and to determine the best course of action. A lawsuit against the HOA could seek compensation for the damage to your property, as well as injunctive relief to prevent them from engaging in similar actions in the future. It could also serve as a powerful deterrent, sending a clear message that such behavior will not be tolerated. However, pursuing legal action is a complex and potentially costly undertaking. It requires careful consideration of the potential benefits and risks, as well as a realistic assessment of your chances of success. Your attorney can advise you on the strength of your case, the potential damages you might recover, and the likely timeline for the litigation. They can also help you navigate the complexities of the legal system, ensuring that your rights are protected and that your interests are represented. The decision to pursue legal action is a personal one, but it should not be made lightly. It is essential to weigh all the factors involved, including the potential impact on your audit and your relationship with the community. Legal action is a tool that should be used strategically, as a means of achieving justice and deterring future misconduct, rather than as an act of revenge or retribution. Your role as an auditor may need to be put on hold, or handled very carefully during legal proceedings so as to not compromise your position. The weight of ethical considerations presses heavily upon you. As the auditor, you are bound by a code of conduct that demands impartiality, objectivity, and integrity. These principles are not mere abstractions. They are the very foundation upon which your credibility rests. The HOA's actions, however, have created a minefield of potential ethical dilemmas. How do you maintain objectivity when you have been personally wronged? How do you ensure that your audit is driven by facts and evidence, rather than by emotion or resentment? The answers to these questions lie in a deep commitment to professional ethics and a willingness to prioritize the public interest above personal grievances. You must adopt a rigorous approach to your audit, relying on established standards and procedures to guide your work. Every decision, every judgment, must be scrutinized for potential bias. You must be prepared to challenge your own assumptions and to seek input from independent sources. Transparency is paramount. You must be willing to disclose any potential conflicts of interest and to explain the steps you have taken to mitigate them. By demonstrating a commitment to ethical conduct, you can maintain your credibility and ensure that your audit is perceived as fair and impartial. This ethical commitment extends beyond your personal situation. It encompasses your responsibility to the community as a whole. As an auditor, you are entrusted with the task of safeguarding the public interest, ensuring that the HOA operates in a responsible and accountable manner. Your actions will have a profound impact on the lives of your fellow residents, shaping their perceptions of the HOA and influencing their trust in its governance. You must be mindful of this responsibility and strive to uphold the highest standards of ethical conduct in all your dealings. The ethical considerations are not merely a matter of following rules and regulations. They require a deep understanding of the moral implications of your actions and a commitment to doing what is right, even when it is difficult. This requires constant self-reflection and a willingness to seek guidance from trusted colleagues or mentors. The path of ethical conduct is not always clear, but it is essential to navigate it with integrity and conviction. Your personal experience with the HOA's alleged misconduct provides a unique and valuable perspective, opening avenues for audit scope expansion. It allows you to delve deeper into areas that might otherwise remain unexplored, uncovering potential vulnerabilities and systemic weaknesses. Consider the HOA's decision-making processes. Did they follow established procedures when deciding to destroy your hedges? Were their actions documented and justified? These questions can lead to a broader examination of the HOA's governance practices, including their policies on property maintenance, dispute resolution, and member communication. Your experience also highlights the importance of transparency and accountability. How does the HOA communicate with its members? How do they handle complaints and grievances? Are their financial records readily accessible and easily understood? These questions can lead to a review of the HOA's financial management practices, including their budgeting, spending, and reporting procedures. By expanding the scope of your audit, you can gain a more comprehensive understanding of the HOA's operations and identify potential areas for improvement. This expanded scope is not about seeking retribution or punishing the HOA for their actions. It is about using your unique perspective to enhance the effectiveness of your audit and to ensure that the HOA operates in a responsible and accountable manner. This requires a strategic approach, focusing on areas that are most likely to yield valuable insights and to contribute to the overall effectiveness of the HOA's governance. Your personal experience can serve as a catalyst for change, prompting the HOA to reevaluate its policies and procedures and to adopt best practices in governance and financial management. This expanded scope is not about focusing solely on the hedge incident. It is about using that incident as a springboard for a broader examination of the HOA's operations. It is about identifying systemic issues that could affect the entire community and taking steps to address them. The cornerstones of good governance, transparency, and accountability are crucial in this situation. Your audit must prioritize these principles, ensuring that the HOA's actions are subject to scrutiny and that its decisions are made in an open and transparent manner. Transparency requires the HOA to provide its members with access to information about its operations, including its financial records, meeting minutes, and decision-making processes. It also requires the HOA to communicate with its members in a clear and timely manner, keeping them informed about important developments and decisions. Accountability requires the HOA to be responsible for its actions and to be held accountable for any wrongdoing. It also requires the HOA to establish clear procedures for handling complaints and grievances, ensuring that members have a fair and impartial process for resolving disputes. Your audit can play a vital role in promoting transparency and accountability. By examining the HOA's records and procedures, you can identify any gaps or deficiencies and recommend steps to address them. You can also help the HOA develop and implement policies that promote transparency and accountability, such as publishing regular financial reports, holding open meetings, and establishing a clear process for handling complaints. Transparency and accountability are not merely abstract concepts. They are essential for building trust and confidence in the HOA's governance. When members have access to information and feel that their concerns are being heard, they are more likely to participate in community activities and to support the HOA's decisions. Conversely, when transparency and accountability are lacking, members may feel alienated and distrustful, leading to conflict and division. Your audit can help to bridge this gap, fostering a culture of openness and accountability that benefits the entire community. Be prepared for the inevitable potential for bias accusations. The HOA, aware of your personal grievance, may attempt to discredit your audit by accusing you of bias or prejudice. They may claim that your findings are motivated by personal animosity rather than by objective analysis. These accusations can be damaging to your reputation and can undermine the credibility of your audit. To counter these potential accusations, you must adopt a rigorous and transparent approach to your work. You must meticulously document every step of your audit, ensuring that your findings are supported by evidence and that your decisions are based on objective criteria. You must also be prepared to explain your methodology and to defend your conclusions. Seeking peer review from other auditors or experts can also help to demonstrate the impartiality of your work. Transparency is key. You must be willing to disclose any potential conflicts of interest and to explain the steps you have taken to mitigate them. By demonstrating a commitment to objectivity and impartiality, you can minimize the impact of any accusations of bias. Remember that accusations of bias are often used as a tactic to deflect attention from wrongdoing. By remaining focused on the facts and evidence, you can ensure that your audit is not derailed by these tactics. Your integrity and professionalism will be your strongest defenses against any attempts to discredit your work. Finally, the HOA's actions and the subsequent audit will inevitably have a significant impact on community trust. The Hedge incident has already created a sense of unease and distrust among residents. Your audit provides an opportunity to restore confidence and to ensure that the HOA operates in a fair and responsible manner. Your role as an auditor is not merely to examine financial records and procedures. It is also to serve as a voice for the community, ensuring that their concerns are heard and that their interests are protected. Your audit findings will be closely watched by residents, and they will form the basis for their perceptions of the HOA. If your audit is perceived as fair and impartial, it can help to restore trust and confidence. Conversely, if your audit is perceived as biased or incomplete, it can further erode trust and create a climate of suspicion. To maximize the positive impact of your audit, you must engage with the community and communicate your findings in a clear and accessible manner. You must also be willing to listen to residents' concerns and to address them in a timely and transparent manner. By demonstrating a commitment to fairness and transparency, you can help to rebuild trust and to create a more harmonious and cohesive community. This is not just about the present situation. It is about laying the foundation for a more positive and productive relationship between the HOA and its members in the future. By promoting transparency, accountability, and ethical conduct, you can help to create a community where everyone feels valued and respected.